Obviously, you took the fight. You got Tai Tuivasa this weekend.
Yeah,
Short notice
yeah,
fight. Tell me how it all came about.
yeah. So how it come about was I was at home with the kids, and then my manager called me, and he was like, "Got something for you. It's in Perth." Once I heard Perth, I was like, "Fuck, man, not Perth." But I kind of gathered who it was going to be. So I once he told me the name, where it's going to be, what date, I just turned around and said, "Yeah." But I was just, training as normal. I wasn't in camp or anything. I was just training as normal. And then yeah, I got the call. I think on the Thursday, and then I flew on the Saturday. So it come around pretty quick. And here we are, fight week, ready to rock and roll.
What's the like the acclimatization period? Obviously, it's a big time difference and stuff. Has that been difficult?
Yeah, massive time difference. I mean, last time I was here, I came here 2 weeks before to kind of try and acclimatize, but
Mhm.
this time I didn't have that luxury. So I got here on Saturday. Well, I landed on Sunday, and then managed to get a good few hours sleep. And then the next night was a bit rough, but I think I'm in sync now. So 2 days, I think it's taken me to kind of adjust, which is
Okay,
enough. And I feel good. I feel on like Australian time, and yeah, the jet lag's past now, so I'm feeling pretty good.
good stuff. You're obviously coming into the fight on the back of two losses, which is against tough opponents first round. Do you kind of feel like you're fighting for your spot on the roster a little bit in this one?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think I'm always fighting for my spot on the roster. Even on my debut against Volta Walker, there's you sign a contract, but you have to perform and you have to win. And I felt like that with the first fight, the second fight, this fight, and I'll probably continue on like that for as long as possible. So every fight that I go into, I'm always thinking, right, you never know when it's your last fight.
Yeah.
There's always people, behind you ready to take your spot. So you got to be on it. And I've been on it since the first one. Obviously, my journey in the UFC hasn't gone off to a pretty start. My first opponent pulled out when I come to Australia. So I took a short notice fight against Volta Walker, who's a specialist and he's a good fighter. Then I get Brando, who's a very good prospect, trains with some killers and very technically good. So yeah, now I've got this fight. So at the end of the day, I don't take the easy route. I'm not expecting an easy life. I haven't asked for an easy life, and I'm ready to put it all on the line. Any fight I go into, really.
Makes sense. You obviously two of us is like a household name. He's been around for a while, but he's coming into
Yeah,
this on six defeats in a row. Do you think he's
yeah.
kind of past his best now, or you're not looking at it like that?
No, I don't think you could ever. You could ever any fighter. You can't really say, oh, he's past his best. Obviously, there's certain circumstances and stuff that you can kind of say that, but when you're fighting somebody, you can't have that mentality. You can't go, well, I think his best days are over, or he's on a six-fight losing streak, but those against good opponents as well. They haven't been shit opponents.
Yeah.
And the guy's still dangerous, man. He holds power in his hands. He can kickbox really well, and he's crafty. He's a veteran, so he's gonna want to show out for his crowd, and he knows his spots on the line as well. So you can't take anybody lightly, no matter their record. We're all in the UFC for one reason. It's because we're good at what we do, and he's been doing it for a very long time. So yeah, man, I don't take him lightly at all. Whether he
Yeah.
was on a six-fight losing streak or a winning streak, I still would have took the fight because there's no easy fights in the UFC. There's none.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned that your last opponent was training with some killers. Obviously, you train with Tom Aspinall. You've come up with Tom Aspinall. Has he given you
Yeah,
any advice on how to deal with like the spotlight or like to with the losses? Any advice on stuff to deal with that?
yeah, that's a good question. To be fair, and when I spoke to Tom last, I think it was after my defeat to Volta, or maybe just before the fight with Volta. He was just like, look, you got to take it. You treat the fight like any other fight. It's just the same fight as when you started in the leisure centres. All it is slightly more people, a different logo on the canvas. But you have the same feelings and the same sort of up and downs and stuff. So that's the kind of advice he's given me. Just treat it the same as kind of everything else. Don't think because it's the UFC you have to like change what you do or go all out or things like this. So he just said just treat it like normal, and that's served me well. To be fair, I think about that quite a lot. So it was quite good advice. And yeah, I roll with that really. I try not to build it up as too much because there's people outside of the fight that are like, oh my god, you're in the UFC, that's amazing, it's a dream come true. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but I knew once I started this journey that I'd get here. So and
Yeah.
it's about staying. And yeah, so that's that advice serves me well when it comes to Tom Aspinall.
It makes sense as well because obviously you've got experience in multiple promotions, but
Yeah,
while it is a bigger stage, it is the same thing at the end of the day, isn't it? So it does make
that's
sense.
right. It's just more eyes and a few more people, want to tune in, and there's no other difference. There's different
Yeah.
logo on the canvas, but there's still another man across the cage that wants to take your head off, and
Yeah.
that's from a leisure centre. It's the same thing. You're fighting in leisure centres in front of like 200 people, or fighting in arenas with a few thousand. It's the same thing. Someone's on the other side of the cage trying to rip your head off. So you got to deal with that shit.
When you mentioned that, obviously he's at home for this fight, Ty.
Yeah.
Are you anticipating like a hostile atmosphere, or do you think it's just going to be quite a wild one because of the type of fight it's going to be?
No, I always expect a hostile crowd when I'm fighting away, and I'm fighting their boy in Australia. Um, the Australian fans are good, I've been to the arena before, and when their boys are fighting, they turn up, and I'm expecting some hostility. I'm not expecting to be treated with roses and whatever, but yeah, I'm expecting some hostility. But I don't care. I like that stuff. I fought in France before against a French Tunisian. They were booing the shit out of me, but I love that. I'm up for that. That's why I'm
Does
here.
that kind of push you on to do more, or is it just kind of another thing that you don't really focus on?
It's just another thing you kind of. But the thing is, I've had it before, so it isn't something brand new. I know obviously each set of fans are always different with what they bring, but once you're in there, you kind of block all that shit. You block all that shit out, and you just get to the task at hand.
Yeah. If you were to come away with a win now this weekend, what are your plans for the rest of the year? Like how do you see the rest of the year playing out with a win?
Um, Obviously now that I've won this fight, for example, it doesn't mean I slow down or anything like that. It's the same.
Yeah.
Um, I want to be active as many fights as possible this year, and whoever the UFC want to give me, I'll take them, and that's how I've started my career with the UFC, and that's how I mean to go on. Yeah, whoever they want, wherever they want, I'm up for it. So as long as I can stay healthy and then get to the next one, I'm pretty sure I'm eyeing up some places in Europe or Middle East. So sort of June, July time, that'd be good if I can get back out and then yeah, rock on from there.
Nice. If you get a win, any plans to do a shoey, or is that not for you?
So, that's the number one question everyone keeps asking me, and yeah, fuck it, too right. If someone's got a shoe spare and a beer,
Why not?
I'll happily do a shoey.
Sounds like a plan, man. Well, best of luck. I'm rooting for you, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time as well. Nice one.
And you. Thank you so much.
Nice one. See